So the final thing we're going to look at in this module is how can we handle exceptions that occur inside our LINQ pipelines. Now, by default, of course, exceptions that happen inside your LINQ pipelines behave no differently to exceptions that happen anywhere else in your code. And so if you want to catch them and do something with them, you'll need to add in exception handlers. However, there is a gotcha with exception handling in LINQ. Take a look at this code, for example. Here we've got a LINQ pipeline that takes the numbers from 1 to 10, subtracts each number from 5, and then divides 10 by each number. And then we loop through and print the numbers out. Now, can you see a problem with this code? That's right, partway through this sequence we're going to get n equals 0, and that will cause a divide by 0 exception. And so if we run it, we can see that's exactly what happened. We've only got partway through our sequence before we got an unhandled divide by 0 exception. And the exception happens here on this line, inside the 10 divided by n lambda expression. So we might think that we could put an exception handler round just this line of code in our pipeline. Say we might do it like this. So I've taken this stage in our pipeline and I've added it on inside a try-catch block. But when we run this, we don't see this error message printed to the console. Instead, we've still got exactly the same unhandled exception as we had before. And it's unhandled even though the line where the exception is thrown is inside this try block. Now, why is that? Well, it's because of deferred execution, which we've already talked about in this course. All we're doing inside this try block is simply adding another stage onto our LINQ pipeline. The lambda expression that we've passed into the select method doesn't actually get called until we're down here in the for each statement, as we're actually starting to pull data through our pipeline. So we need to add another exception handler, and this time we'll put it around the for each loop. And now when we run, we can see that this one is catching our exception. And so this is how you can catch exceptions thrown in your LINQ pipelines, and this might be absolutely fine for your needs. But there are two things that make this code less than ideal. First of all, this approach means that we can't pick and choose which stages in our LINQ pipeline we want to handle exceptions for. And so this means you can't say, I just want to handle exceptions of a particular type, say a divide by 0 exception, if they happen at a particular stage in my pipeline. And another potential problem with this is sometimes when an exception occurs while we're looping through a sequence, we want to just be able to carry on anyway and just skip over the item that causes a problem. And here, once an exception is thrown, that's it. We've finished iterating through. So let's have a look at a couple of ways that we might handle this. How can we single out a specific stage in our LINQ pipeline for special exception handling? And how can we allow ourselves to carry on even if something goes wrong? Let's look at how we can do that next.